Shut up and sit down.
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
You know what I'd like? A brand new bike. Of course, there's some other things I'd like to have, but I'd sure like a brand new bike.
What's up, guys? I'm Matt LeGrand. I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm a rock climber. I'm a Lord of the Rings fanatic.
And I'm a YouTube superstar.
A new analysis published in the British Medical Journal finds that men are idiots.
Yep, we're idiots.
You may or may not be listening to the Dialed Podcast with Matt LeGrand, Evan Price, Lance Hepler, and Jake Von During. If you like the show, enjoy it. If not, I think you actually listened to the move with some other guy named Lance.
I would have something to eat just before I go to sleep. You know what I'd like? A brand new bike. Of course, there's some other things I like to have, but I'd sure like a brand new bike.
Hi, and welcome back to the Dialed Podcast. I am Jake Von During, and today, as always, I'm here with Matt LeGrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? How are you guys doing?
They're doing well. And immediately to Matt's left is Mr. Evan Price.
How's it going?
Good.
Yes.
And we've got Lance on location.
Golden Boy Lance Romance on location today, coming at you over Skype.
Yes.
Where are you at, Lance?
I'm actually in St. George, Utah. I headed out to Utah to spend some time with my son for his 23rd birthday, and now my wife and I and dog are out enjoying the country. We're actually in the middle of a hike, so I am connected to my cell phone with my AirPods and talking to you over Skype while I'm hiking with the dog. So if I sound out of breath or funny, or if I drop off almost unexpectedly, you'll know why. That's why.
And he's tormenting us with these pictures. This jackhole is sending us these pictures and saying, neener.
What canyon are you in, Lance?
I'm at the entrance to Snow Canyon. We hiked up to a spot called Scout Cave. There's this cool little cave that you can hike up to. I'll send you guys more pictures. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Lance, you are not that far away from where I absolutely broke apart in May right now. So you may see my legs still out there somewhere. If you could bring them back for me, please, that'd be great.
Yeah, you kind of detonated on the run, I believe, here in St. George.
You can see a mark on the road where his pride is.
I think it was. My tears and pride are left somewhere on that road.
It's a stain on the road.
Skiddy mark, yeah.
A stained pride, an Evan stained pride.
Yes.
All right, as per usual, we're going to get started on our Backpedal, and we're going to start with Matt this week.
Let's see. So I'm still recovering from sickness, which is not ideal. But I've been doing a fair amount of running. Just and swimming's going solid, I guess. It's just kind of hard to do some of that stuff when your sinuses are just kind of like filled with just goop and junk, and you just feel horrible. You're swimming and you're just like, ugh, you can't breathe.
Goggles put some serious pressure into your sinuses,
right in the wrong
too.
spot.
Yeah.
But the running's going fine. Like I had a good week of running. Just solid runs basically every day. I've been going to cross country practice, and our team's been doing well, and just trying to run a little bit here and there where I can, just fit it in. So I would say just a solid week. And then this past weekend, we did a family vacation trip, kind of. It's kind of like camping. We went to stay in Rogue River, which is like Southern Oregon, and we stayed in these yurts, which is pretty cool. And
what's a yurt?
A yurt it's kind of like
yurt mama.
It's a fancy tent.
It's your yurt mama.
Is this like glamping? Is that what that is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Glamping. Okay.
So there, the tent's all set up for you, basically. Yeah. I mean, it's not really a tent, but it's
a big circular, domey kind of tent thing.
Dome kind of thing. And there's kind of some beds type stuff.
It's like a little tent cabin kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. And we stayed, you can stay like right on the river. So it's
That's
pretty cool.
nice.
You would like it. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not my thing because I'm not like big time camper type person.
Yeah. Well, I told you about the last time I went camping. My hammock filled up with water and I had to sleep on the cold ground. So did I tell that story on here?
No, I don't think so.
That's a real.
Good
I'll just
idea.
make that my backpedal. Go and fish. I'll just tell that story.
Yeah, so I brought the bike down, and I was gonna,
Nice.
just go explore, but it's hard, like when you're like, oh, kid wants to bike with you, okay, I'll do that. Wife wants to bike with you, okay, I'll do that. And so I did like a lot of little rides, but nothing like no big like epic like Lance Romance style like ride.
Yeah.
So it was awesome, and then I would just get off the bike and run a little bit, and that was fine. Maybe overdid it a little bit because my calves and Achilles are bugging me now, but good. I think it was a pretty solid week.
Excellent. Mr. Romance, backpedal for us.
Well, I am off adventuring, so it's been kind of a fun week. I'm still fighting that chest infection that I got after racing last week, so I've been coughing and hacking a little bit. But I headed off to Utah to spend my son's 23rd birthday, him and my wife and my dog, and so my other daughter was there as well. So we, loaded up the truck and pulled the trailer, and we got a trailer full of bikes and gear, and we're just out kind of having fun. So
how many bikes did you bring?
That was a good one.
I brought 4 bikes.
No way. Oh, okay. Well, they're not all yours, correct?
You got a wife?
No. Well, the wife's road bike, my road bike, and a mountain bike and a gravel bike.
Okay,
that's what I brought.
3 out of 4 is for
Okay. The gravel bike wasn't going to do it. You needed the mountain bike too.
Yes, that's correct. Actually, we just finished our hike and we're back at the trailer, and I'm going to be gearing up to go on a mountain bike ride on a place called the Zen Trail, which is on a bluff right overlooking St. George. So you'll get some more ridiculous pictures as I'm gearing up for that too.
How's the weather? Temperature okay?
It rained this morning, so we were really bummed, and then it is completely cleared up. It is beautifully gorgeous. It is sunny and 70, and it's just October in the high desert, man. It is
glorious.
Just fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
Would you say it's a glorious day?
it is a glorious day.
You got some
good.
And
You got some hero dirt out there?
what's that?
You got some hero dirt out there right now?
There is some good stuff out here. It is just fantastic. So
Nice.
doing a little mountain biking, doing a little road biking. I did this circuit called the Alpine Loop in Utah, up near Provo and American Fork, Utah, just south of Salt Lake. And it was like 50 miles and 5,000 feet of climbing through these gorgeous aspen groves. It circled Mount Timpanogos, where, oh my gosh, it was just so pretty. So that was a couple days ago. And so we're headed from here. We're headed to Las Vegas from here. We're going to stop at Valley of the Fire State Park and do some picture taking and a little bit of biking there. I'm going to spend the night in Vegas tonight, and then we might head to Yosemite after that. So that's a little bit of back pedal and forward pedal. So there's a whole lot going on.
Make sure you stop in Reno too. There's great spots around there. So actually, just skip it and go straight to Tahoe.
Yeah, I think we're just going to go right on to Yosemite.
Yeah,
actually.
probably a better idea.
Good call. All right, Evan, backpedal for us.
Kind of more of the same. Kind of on the same path as Matt here. Just plugging away at training. I'm staring down the barrel of probably 5 months of consistently the same training each week, on and off. Yeah,
but you're swimming a lot.
Yeah, trying to get a lot. I'm actually really focusing on biking right now, mostly because there's this Lance guy who I really want to make sure I can still out climb. So I still got to make sure I'm riding a ton.
I'm not sure. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. But yeah, outside of that, running a lot, making sure I'm getting on the track, intervals. It's been fun.
Have you had a decent workout that you can?
Yeah. I'll share one of the workouts. I really don't mind sharing numbers. I think some people don't like sharing numbers on workouts.
I
really don't care.
I didn't know if you were secretive about stuff because you never post. You never post.
That's just because I'm bad with technology. People have asked me, they're like, "Why don't you ever post?" I was like, "It's because I'm really bad at tech." You're
not a millennial, are you?
No,
You're just hiding.
I should have been born in the 1950s. I would have been much better at being born in the 1950s. Yes. But yeah, so I did. On Saturday, I did a cool Washougal Hills ride with Dustin and David.
Yeah.
Me and Dustin have been doing a lot of riding together.
Nice.
Which is good because whenever I ride with him, I got to make sure we hit lots of hills so that he doesn't kill me, so I can actually drop him on something, and then he catches me on the descents.
Yeah.
But, kind of working on descent technique, steady climbing, and then about 4 hours, jumped off the bike, threw on the running shoes, ran to the track, which is about 3 miles away, and then hit the track for 4x800 with 400 recovery, and I was hitting in about 230 on each 800.
Okay.
So...
Excellent.
Just trying to stay steady.
Solid run.
It was solid. Yeah. I tried to keep it comfortable. I was trying not to kill myself.
Just having that track be 3 miles away is
Perfect.
significant. You know, get some mileage that way.
I'm lucky that way. But yeah, outside of that, just plugging away. Definitely not a Lance backpedal. But
Hey, Lance, is Piper the Wonder Pup there for her backpedal real quick?
Yeah, let's see if she'll say something. She's currently drinking water. Piper. Hey, Piper, can you say hi to the whole world?
I can hear.
Hey, Piper.
She's drinking water.
People need to look. My favorite pictures you've put up so far, Lance, are Piper pictures. Nothing against you, but Piper is so much better looking than you are.
That is a true story. I believe you. Yes.
All right. My backpedal was, again, drum roll please, a lot more of the same. Zwift, in week 6 now of my little FTP builder program, and it's going along well. We did our team ride last week, which was a lot of fun. We got more people showing up for that every week, which is a lot of good times, good workout. If you guys want to join us on those ever Tuesday nights at 6:30
I know Lance
p.m.
is all about that indoor.
Oh yeah, Lance has been making appearances.
Not for nothing though. I think Lance would actually have fun doing this.
I would.
He would Lance the crap out of us.
I will get on it. I'm sure.
He's going to need something to do this winter.
Yeah, when he's not exploring the world.
Exactly, yeah.
Aside from that, just going to medical appointments and all that fun stuff, getting geared up for an MRI this coming week for more fun stuff that's going on in my shoulder. We ordered all of the Dialed Cycling apparel, which is going to be a lot of fun. We got hats and shirts and hoodies and all kinds of fun stuff coming, which is going to be pretty neat. We'll have that on Halloween. Kind of stoked on that. And then did a fun little family hike picture session thing over this weekend, which was pretty cool too. So
okay, I saw those pictures. Was that Fallen Leaf Lake?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Did you do the trails behind the lake?
We were going to, and then my daughter needed to get to a Halloween party. And, I made them take way too many pictures, so we kind of ran out of time.
Yeah, I know, right? Like that photo stuff, it's like a time warp.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I can kill 3 hours.
Exactly. But we're actually going to go back down there again this weekend and try and do it again. I'll bring the camera with me again.
Yeah. And I mean, the light will be different. The leaves will be different.
Yep.
Although the photos you took were really nice. Maybe snag one of those and post it to our podcast stuff.
Sure.
So that,
Yeah.
Because there's some fancy, nice photos of the fall foliage. It's pretty stuff.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Yes, sir. All right. That is it for me, though. So let us get started on this podcast. And I want to have us discuss the video that Matt helped produce and make, or whatever it was that you did. You get into the specifics on that.
What would you say you do here?
What would you say you did on the video, man?
So it's for the Transition 4 group, and I'm just going to shut up now, and I'm going to let Matt kind of talk a little bit more about this, and we'll ask you some questions. So hit it off.
So today, as of this recording, they just released the video that we worked on. It was kind of towards the end of the summer, so it's been a couple weeks. And basically, one of the pros that is the leader of this Transition 4 group asked me if I would come help film, and I said sure. And the film took place up on Mount Hood, and it's basically a group of pros that were kind of descending on the Portland area, and they hit some trails and kind of did like a non-traditional triathlon. And it was super cool. It was really nice that they asked me to help, and it was interesting. We it ended up being a lot more work than it's you look at it and you watch the film or whatever, and it looks like just a whole bunch of guys just went up there and rolled through the trails or whatever. Well, it turns out it's like you have a guy that's trying to like just manage the traveling of all these guys and all the gear that they have and dinners and food and camping and all this stuff. Like, so a ton of work went into the actual production of the event. The video is on purpose, makes it look like, they just kind of tromped through the woods and had fun, which, it's that's the, I think the look that we wanted to, put out there.
Make it look
was
as easy as possible.
Well, not that just that, hey, like the idea is to inspire people like, hey, go do something, go out there and hit the trails, go do your own, Overland Triathlon, which is the name of this event that they did. And so that was the idea, was like, and this is, they really did, like, they carried all their own stuff, right? Like, carry your running shoes on the bike and carry your goggles, and like, you have to be self-supported, so that it is that kind of like, hey, if Evan wants to go out there and do the same course, like, he can shoot over there with a bike and do it, and but with the videoing and the spending multiple nights and stuff like that, it just ends up being like a group of people, with just like stuff, right? Like camera stuff and photography stuff. And there was like a canoe, which ended up being a really good thing because, some of the athletes, got pulled out of the water and stuff like that. Not to ruin the film for you guys if you haven't watched. If you guys want to check it out, you can go to transition4.tv. And it will be one of the first couple videos up there, which, just look for Overland Triathlon.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's already linked on my Facebook too, and Matt's already.
Oh, it is?
too.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Yeah, and we can link to it from show notes and stuff too. But yeah, I had a pretty good time going up there doing. I would have kind of liked to do it, just because it's triathlon, right?
That's
it's
what we
hard
were talking about before this.
Yeah, It was like, well, it's hard to be the cinematography guy, right? When you're like, oh, I kind of wish I was out there doing it.
Yeah. But that's the awesome thing about the video is that after watching that, I had texted Matt, like, I was just inspired to go out and do anything today. It's just it's an awesome video to watch and kind of reminds us that, I mean, triathlon's meant to be fun.
I'm going to take that one step further.
Yeah.
You guys know my viewpoint. I mean, not that I hate triathlon.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just not, it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Right.
I watched that and I'm like, oh crap, I want to go do that now. So, I mean, well done. Well done. And
that whole thing was like right down my alley. That's
Yes.
exactly the kind of stuff I want to be doing. You know?
It spoke to me too. So
This is where, and I'm just spitballing now, but
Except for the running.
You would have liked the run. You would have liked the run. You guys might have run there before. It's basically, there's a trail around Timothy Lake, and they basically just like, they ran 10K. So, but you could definitely do shorter, and you basically run for a little while and then jump in the water and swim back. So
now was that swim? That was a mile straight across Timothy Lake.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
The swim looks beautiful.
Yeah, I swim there. I swim there a lot.
So beautiful.
Yeah, because I was so to prep for this event, I at least did maybe two additional trips up there. So we did scouting trips and stuff like that because we wanted to know. So they really did kind of race, and so from a photography standpoint, we had to basically know where we wanted to be to get photos, and so we scouted the course. And we marked the course. I mean, it was just...
So there was no stopping on their part for the most part. Like they just went straight through and you had to be ready to go with your angles and everything.
Ready to go with photos, yeah. And they did take a GoPro with them, which ended up being pretty good on the bike footage and maybe some of the run footage. Turned out pretty well. So that was good. But basically anytime it's like, okay, well, you need to be here and here at these times. And... there was drone footage for the swim.
Mm-hmm. The drone footage looks really cool. That's where you get to see kind of how beautiful Timothy Lake area is.
Right. It's we had some issues, right? So there was fire issues back then towards the end of the summer. And so
was this in September?
Yeah, I think it
was. Or was it August?
I think it was September or late August.
Because I feel like it was the weekend after or the weekend before I was in Santa Cruz. I can't remember. I remember when you were out there. I just can't remember the weekend.
I don't remember the exact date. But the fire kept us from getting the Mount Hood views that we were looking for. Mm-hmm. I did send a drone up one morning, and I could kind of see some mountains and stuff, but it wasn't exactly what we had in mind as far as having the race and having Mount Hood in the background. But I mean, that's the whole thing is with any of this stuff, it was a good learning experience for me because it's hey, you need to, when you're filming these events or whatever, it's things are going to happen. Things are going to change rapidly, and you need to kind of adapt quickly.
Yeah.
And like when I make my own little YouTube films, it's like, oh, that didn't work out, shoot it again. That didn't work out, shoot it again. 15 hours later, it's like you
unfortunately can't do that in a race. Be like, hey, can we redo this race?
Whoop,
Wrap it up,
that,
boys.
Redo that transition. I missed it.
Exactly. Restart.
Yeah. So, and actually, there were some little things that we could do, but for like, I had them swim the day before, and I got in the water and took some nice film of them swimming. And if you look closely and you watch the film, you'll be able to see like, oh, this close-up shot, like you can tell Matt shot this or whatever it is. But then Trevor Wertel, who's like this pro triathlete from Canada, he's like an Ironman champion. He's big time. He's awesome. He wore like a different outfit, and I'm like, shoot, man, I can't use this. It's like, because I was. So one of the things I did was help edit the film as well. And I didn't do a ton of it. Actually, Eric did a lot of the editing, and
he does a lot of his own editing for Viking Life, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So he's been doing a lot of this filming stuff for a while. And he goes through waves of doing more and less. I think when racing gets intense, he's actually, we've talked about this before. He's pretty much one of the best triathletes in the country.
Let's preface that because between Trevor Wertel and Eric Lagerstrom were the two big time pros that were there, and Eric is arguably outside of Ben Canute right now. I'd say the fastest across all distances American. We're talking from ITU to 73.
Yep. I think he is focusing on that 70.3, and I think he is one of the guys, I would say, for like 70.3.
Him, Canute, Ben Hoffman, Timmy O'Donnell, that's about it.
Yeah, he's a serious, contender for sure. And, he's focusing on some run stuff, and like times that he was talking about with like 1:10 for a half marathon, I'm like, that's real running, like I don't know if that's I don't know if that's realistic or not, like, but I know he's gone 1:13 off the bike, so that's legit. That's legit running right there. So I think basically when Jan Frodeno went whatever it was 1:06, like that changes everyone is going to be like, welp, I guess I have to change like my outlook on triathlon. But this event was definitely more kind of free-spirited event. There was like single track trail. I mean, you guys, you would have eaten this stuff up, Lance. Right up your alley.
Oh, dude, I would have loved it.
Yeah,
I would have absolutely loved it. I know. I've actually ridden that trail before.
Have you?
Yeah,
of course you have.
On my mountain bike. Yeah,
and that's what they were saying.
How technical was that? Because they were not on mountain bikes.
No,
they were on cross bikes.
They were on cross bikes.
They rolled a flat part, and it wasn't that technical.
Okay.
Yeah, they basically started down or maybe halfway up Mount Hood and went up to Timothy Lake. So it was a lot of climbing, but they kind of they did come out to the highway for a little bit. And
how long was the ride? I think you said 35 miles before.
I don't know.
Is that about right?
That sounds about right.
I think it was 35 miles.
Ooh, Lance, you okay?
Oh no.
Do we lose him?
Are you still
there?
Yeah. You sound like you went over a waterfall.
So
Lance just got attacked.
I'm currently. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm currently in transition. So I have finished the hike. We have loaded up in the car. I've changed my mountain biking stuff, and now we're driving to the spot where I'm going to mountain bike. So just bear with me.
This is just
I've been muting
you. It's in T1 right now.
This is just like a triathlon. You're in
That's right.
You're in transition.
We're in T1. I'm headed to the next one.
I'm going to be honest, Lance. This is a pretty slow transition time right now. You've really got to trim this down. Like,
well, I have to drive 10 miles to the mountain biking spot.
That's poor transition planning right there.
So Matt, did this give you a whole new perspective on like the production of like a bigger budget movie or a TV show or something like that? I mean, you did it. It was a 20-minute spot, right?
So the editing. So to give you an idea, right? Like we filmed this in whether it was like early September, whatever it was, and to have it be like finally out now, like you just realize like, oh, and this is what, like 20 minutes or something like that. Like, you just realize like, oh my gosh. The time that goes into editing is ridiculous, and we could have easily, I think, done more with the editing. Like there's so much more that we could have done. And the ridiculous amount of footage that we had that we didn't use. I mean, we could have probably done, instead of 20 minutes, we could have done 20 hours. We had so much footage.
Wow.
But it's it gives you an idea, like, oh, for any of these real. I mean, I don't really consider this like a real production, but like a real production of something like, man, those are intense.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine like trying to put together an hour 20 or something like that.
Well, it still looks just visually and how the video's put together, it looks just as good as anything I've watched on YouTube of, the ultra marathon races that they'll post the recaps of.
It was professional.
It was very professionally done.
See, I only see I see all the wrong stuff.
You're way too critical of it.
I see all the stuff that's wrong for sure. Yeah. Again, like we had a lot of people helping, which definitely made a big difference. Made it feasible. Yeah.
Would you guys ever think of adjusting the timeline, maybe making it in mid-September? I know that would depend on everybody's race schedule, just because I feel like the ash issue, like with the cloudiness, is kind of always an end of August thing now. That's been the last 2 years now. We've had those visibility issues at the same time of year.
Well, my gut feeling, so I have no idea. So I was just a helper in the Transition 4 group. It's definitely a cool group for you guys to, for anyone that's listening to check out. They have 2 sites, Transition 4, I think it's transition-4.com, and then also transition4.tv. But they do like, I think, their whole thing is like, hey, we want to take a different perspective of triathlon. Like it's not all like, grind the road and just like,
sit on your trainer and race 73s,
just suffer through it. And they definitely, and they also, I think my gut feeling is that they want to kind of put the sport out to inspire, like kind of just like, hey, this can be cool. It doesn't have to be all staring at like the black line of the pool. Like this can be a neat sport. And I think I think that they're inspired by like surfing videos or skateboard videos or just things like that, or even some of that
more like extreme sports stuff. Well, is Lagerstrom sponsored by Red Bull as well? Am I saying that right? So Red Bull has done, and despite your feelings on energy drinks, I drink an energy drink every day for the record. But
you're slowly killing
Red
yourself.
Bull, I'm slowly killing myself. But Red Bull itself has done very cool bits on sponsoring anybody in the endurance world recently. And the cool part is that now they're even sponsoring, I think I mentioned this on the last podcast, individual cyclists, which I think is very cool. When we talk about, the shifting landscape in professional cycling from team-based to individual-based, I mean, Red Bull's kind of on the forefront of this sort of thing you're talking about, like surfing, skateboarding, cycling, triathlon.
I think maybe surfing videos started it, right? Where it's like these people that are just going out with their boards and like just having an adventure. And I think triathlon definitely doesn't have anything like that.
We need to do that more in triathlon. Why would triathlon not do that? You can do stuff like Overland anywhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's their point is like, hey, we hope you see this. Hope you go do something cool.
Yeah.
I think. Hey, Evan, can you guys hear me?
Yep. Yeah.
So, Rebecca Rush, she's sponsored by Red Bull.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Yep. And there's another athlete. I want to say his name's Patrick. There's a guy who won the single speed world championships in Bend this weekend. He's also a Red Bull sponsored cyclist.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
I feel like they just pick people that are cool.
They
and sponsor
do.
them.
Yeah. Which is interesting. I mean, let's build the individual brands in this sport. I'm all for that. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
I think, and this is just, I'll just plug this little seed here. I mean, we could come up with something cool like this ourselves. We could even do the Overland route since Matt already knows that.
Yeah.
But we could take some of our interesting friends here and go out there and do something fun like this.
Yeah.
I was inspired, just like Jake. I mean, I was inspired after watching that.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. And, going up there for us, it's about an hour-ish drive. It's not that far. But you could easily go make a camping trip out of it and do
make a weekend camping trip and training trip out of it.
Sure. You could do a training block. You could spend a week up there, do a training block if you want to do something like that.
Yeah.
So many good options for those of us that are racing and just want to do something kind of inspiring for sure.
Yeah. Recharging the batteries too. You always hear that in the triathlon and cycling worlds. It's like guys at some point in the season are just drained. Like, why not go out and do something like this? Like, that's the way you recharge yourself.
Yeah.
Go and do something fun.
So Matt, how did you originally connect with them?
So Eric sent me a message on Instagram, and I followed his YouTube channel for a while, and I'm also on YouTube, and I think it's kind of that actually my feeling is that he needed basically a body, anybody that could hold a camera and film some stuff. And then I think maybe like as he got to know me a little bit more, it was like, okay, well, let's do this and this, and then do some editing and things like that too, and just kind of set some stuff in motion where it's like, what kind of shots can we do here and here. And again, we had other people too filming and taking, and then we had a whole photography group, like 2 people that were just doing photography. They were from like a professional studio in Portland. So that was pretty cool. But there were some conflicts, right? Where it's like you get your photographer and your video shot, and it's kind of like, oh, what are our priorities here? Because this is making it difficult to make this video. When you have a photographer like right in your face, it's like, nope, can't use this clip, can't use this video. But yeah, so that's how we connected over Instagram.
Okay, good. And then just for the geek in me,
sure.
I don't know if there's any other geeks out there. Tell me more about the equipment you used.
Absolutely. So I shoot on a Sony camera. Sony A Alpha 7 III is the name of the camera that I use.
Oh, right.
And right.
That's a nice piece of equipment, my friend.
It is. This is. I don't know if you've listened to the podcast before, but Jake and I we love to geek out on camera stuff, and totally randomly, like he and I bought the same camera, which you basically, it's a good camera for sure, and it's like hard to get. It's because it's been so popular. It's one of those cameras that's like sold out everywhere, and we both like just randomly like have the same camera, which is awesome because we can share each other's lenses.
Yeah.
So one of the things I did was come over here.
It's just a budding bromance between you two.
I know, Lance. We're just hanging out over here, me and Lance.
Yeah. That's so I shot. So one of the things you need is like telephoto lens for some of the far away stuff. So I borrowed your 70-200 lens, which was really nice. And then I used like a gimbal thing, which basically helps you hold your camera steady for a lot of the action shots, and that's a lot of the transition pieces and things like that. Because you kind of, these people are changing all that stuff. They're doing all that on their own and stuff like that, but you want to film it and stuff like that, or they're running and stuff like that. So you kind of, if you want to move quickly, you don't want to have the camera shake. So the gimbal helps you keep things steady. And then what else did I use? I have like a 50 millimeter 1.8, which I love.
Yep.
I use that thing all over the place.
That's what I took all my pictures with this past weekend. Yeah.
It's like I use that.
What GoPro were they carrying on them?
That was the GoPro. So there was actually a lot of them.
Really?
Yeah, because GoPros are so easy in a lot of ways. There was one of those little GoPro. They have they call it the Session, I think, and it's like a little square one, and it was on Chris's bike. And then Eric had a GoPro Hero 6, I think, and that actually had a little gimbal piece to it, which actually I was surprised, actually worked out really well for a lot of some of the stuff on the cycling. And then I had a GoPro Hero 5, and I would just like put it down random places. Which was
like
nice.
The low shots that you got in there and all that.
Exactly. And so, so you could just put it down and forget about it, like press, play, record, and forget about it. And that was nice, because then I could have my other camera stuff going on. So yeah. And then on the wide angle shots, I borrowed Jake's 16-35 mil lens. So those were basically the 3 lenses I used. Use the GoPro, and then I have a drone as well that I use, but they also had another drone, and then they had their Transition 4 has their own camera, and then I think Eric probably has like 4 or 5 GoPros, at least maybe 6. Like he has tons of like little GoPros and stuff like that. So we're throw those everywhere and just have as many people try to film stuff as possible. So
yeah.
Yep.
So getting away from the camera stuff, I think it's we were talking about it before. Kind of a cool story of Matt Berg was involved in this as well, who I think is a cool little shout out to give there because he's
super cool.
Yeah, he's kind of a hero of the Pacific Northwest little triathlon scene. From everybody who I've talked to who's been out here. He's been a name in the racing world for a long time.
Yeah. He seems to always do this local triathlon called the Blue Lake Triathlon that you and I do. We'll probably do at the beginning of each season. And I think he won it either maybe 2 years ago or something like that. And he's a touch older. He's probably
40.
I'm guessing he's like 43, 44, something like that.
That's so
man,
old.
He's anciently old.
I mean, and so decrepitly old.
Yeah, I mean, he needs a wheelchair to get to the races at this point.
He gets to the race in a wheelchair and then he wins.
Anybody over that age might as well just quit whatever they're doing.
I actually raced Matt Berg a month ago or so. He came and did a cyclocross race that I was doing at called Corn Cross.
Yeah, he said he was going to do cyclocross this year.
Yeah, he raced in my division, and so I raced against him.
So if you get the chance to hang out with him, he is like he's just like a super chill guy. Like one of my favorite people from that trip. He just seems so even keeled. Like, yep, missed the turn. Like you'll see this in the film where it's like he missed the turn. He had to run like a couple extra miles. Yep, missed the turn, and then he has these like horrible leg cramps in the swim, and he's like, yep, just missed that. And it's just like, I'm just out here having a good time. Like he's just so mellow, like just an awesome person, and an extremely good athlete. So he definitely, and you get these little snippets because you're only with these people for, like a long weekend or whatever it is. And you're like, oh, this person I could totally hang out with all the time. He's just so easygoing. Yeah. I really liked him a lot for sure.
We need to do some training with him this year.
Yeah,
that'd be fun to hang out with.
Because he lives close. He lives in Troutdale, which is if we could cross the river from where we live just on the southern Washington side. But if we could cross the river, he'd be right there.
Yeah, it's like 3 miles away, but to drive there, it's like 20 miles or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So, he's super
Very
awesome.
Cool.
Yep.
That is fun, Matt. What was your favorite takeaway of that whole race or event?
Yeah. I think my favorite takeaway was just getting to go up there and realizing like how like amazing it is up there. And it's, you realize, okay, well, this is an hour drive or whatever it is, but you just feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. Like you're on dirt roads. There's no, cellular or anything connection. And there's just trails and a big lake to swim in.
And a huge mountain.
But I mean, like, if you just realize, like, even if you, like, so I did this trip a couple times, like, you can just go spend a day up there. If you have a day off, you could drive up there in the morning, like, swim, bike, run, whatever you want to do, drive back that evening, and probably be home by dinner time. Like, it's really not that big of a deal, and it's just absolutely stunning up there. So my biggest takeaway was just like, oh, go do it. Like, don't hesitate. Like, go up there, do that. Definitely swim in the lake. The water's, crystal clear, amazing. Run on those trails. They're amazing. And it's just, this is our backyard. And like, we don't even realize how amazing it is. It's just absolutely amazing. So that's my takeaway. My big takeaway. Yep.
I'm sold.
Yep.
Fun.
Yeah.
Good
so again,
stuff.
And if you guys want to check that out, the best place to do that would be transition4.tv. I'm hoping that they'll post some stuff to YouTube as well. So, and if they do, I will link to it from my YouTube account.
Yeah, we'll post that up on the Dial Podcast Facebook page as well.
Post it up.
And all three of you guys out there can listen to it. Watch it, all that fun stuff. Awesome. Let's jump into our next topic if you guys are done on that. The hot seat.
Woo.
The hot seat is back.
Oh, it feels hot.
I was going to say, I feel like did the hot seat take a hiatus for a little bit? I can't remember.
The hot seat is back. Lance, you've been a little quiet, man. You want to start us out on the hot seat?
I am unprepared for the hot seat question.
Whoa, this makes it even hotter. Go, Lance.
Brandy will crush
What do you got, Brandy? Ask us a question, Brandy. No, yours were not dumb.
You said mine were dumb.
I said if there's one place that they'd want to live that was like the best cycling place they
Ooh.
had, that was one question.
Oh, okay.
That's a good question.
What's a city you would like to live in other than Portland, Oregon?
That's like 100 times better question than whatever Lance would have come up with.
Yes, it is.
I'm gonna start this one off, and I'm gonna say Bend.
Bend.
I've been down there once to ride and did a little family trip, and oh my gosh. They have everything that they can throw at you, and you've got beauty, you've got the seasons, you've got cool people, you got a good biking vibe. Bend, Oregon, of course, don't go there because they don't want you there because they don't want any more people.
Yeah,
but
that's right. Nobody go to Bend. It's the worst kept secret in the Northwest.
Yeah. What was the question? The worst place to go ride your bike?
Right.
All right. How about you, Evan?
Okay, I got two. One of them is whatever, but I would love, if it wasn't so crowded at the moment, to be in Boulder. After doing the ride around there, it's incredible. I'm actually taking a weekend trip coming up to Boulder, so that's number one for me. But number two was after doing Santa Cruz, I would love to live right on the coast in Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. And just being able to swim in the ocean every day would be great.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that Santa Cruz area. That like Northern California area.
Cost of living, what's it like there?
More money than I have, but if I had more monies, then I would live there. So,
what about something like Tucson or something like that? And the reason I mentioned that is because in a hot seat question, I was kind of thinking, where would people go in the winter time? Like, if we want to take a winter spin on this, like, I think Tucson might be something for us to consider too.
What? That's a part of the debate for our 2019 dialed cycling training camp. So that's been in talks and contention. So
that would be cool.
Maybe.
Oh, we could come up with we should have a podcast topic where you got to make an argument for each city, pros cons list for each city. Tucson would be tough to beat that time of year.
I know, right?
How about you, Lance?
Well, I tell you, St. George is pretty awesome. And I think that's just not because I'm here right now. But if I really wanted to go somewhere, I think it would be Sun Valley, Idaho. I mean, I could live in Sun Valley. And it's more a mountain bike mecca than it is a road biking mecca. But, man, it is a cool spot on the earth. That's for sure.
I still have to get out there one of these days.
Yep.
I'm going to put myself in your trunk next time you head out there, Lance, once my shoulder is healed up. Matt, was Tucson your answer, or were you just kind of throwing that out there?
Sure.
Huh?
That's my answer. Tucson.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I was just thinking, someplace warm.
Nobody said Dayton, Ohio? No Dayton, Ohio?
Here's the problem with Tucson. I mean, yes, Tucson is my answer because the question was biking specific, I think. But running in Tucson is not great. It's so hot in the summertime. You basically have to get up at like 3 a.m, go run, and as soon as the sun comes out, you're done. You are absolutely done. So
yeah.
I'm gonna give an honorable mention to our backyard. I mean, just based on everything we talked about with the Overland, series and all the cool stuff that we have here.
Portland's tough to beat. It is. Portland, Vancouver is very tough to beat. Yeah.
Just don't move here.
Yeah. No, it's terrible. Don't come here.
All right, Evan, hit us with a hot seat.
All right, I've got two questions, but I kind of like one of these. What are your best, like, what are the rides you're most looking forward to that you've planned for 2019?
Ooh.
All.
Jake's answer is anything outside.
Anything on a bike.
I've told you this before. I'm just going to go pull all the data from Lance's 2018, and that's going to be my ride agenda for 2019. So
yeah.
I am just about to set off on a mountain bike trail called the Zen Trail. The Zen Trail. And it's, I don't know, just 1,000 feet of climbing. It's only 5 or 6 miles, but it's a little muddy down here. I'm just scoping it out where to park my rig right now. That's what I'm most looking forward to, is the Zen Trail here in the next 5 minutes.
Lance, do you have anything on the horizon for 2019? Like anything that you're really excited about?
I just want to have a better road cycling season. I'm not at the road racing season, I guess. I'm much better at cyclocross than I am road racing because I'm kind of a bigger guy, and so I guess I'm just hoping I can do better there.
Lance, you're 175 pounds now. You're not a bigger guy anymore. I'm sorry, bud.
You're becoming a little guy.
Yeah. With the work that you've put in, the condition and the fitness that you've put your body into, and how strong you're riding, I have a sneaking suspicion that your season next year is going to be pretty fantastic.
Well, I hope.
Lost. Looks like we may have lost Mr. Lance Romancer. Lance.
He made it through transition, just barely.
Give him one more second here to try and come back on.
Oh, Lance.
Oh, we lost him. All right, well.
Can I pretend to be Lance?
Oh, he's back.
From the dead.
The audio switched from my earbuds to the truck. So, it's all confusing.
Okay. Finish what you were saying, Lance, about the 2019 road racing season?
I've just, I've been dropped on so many long cycling climbs when I'm road racing because I'm not as strong as a cyclist that my expectations are very low.
Let me remind you that our road racing season doesn't really have much long climb. The climbing routes are courses built into it. It's relatively
climbs,
punchy. Yeah, and it's usually
punchy
like
is all you, Lance.
The longest climbs are like 2, 3, 4 minutes. That's not that long.
Right.
So
that's not long enough to get away. Nope.
It's not going to help us.
Nope.
Well, that would be better for me.
Yeah, you'll do just fine. All right. Question is to Matt now.
So one of the rides that you guys have been talking about that I've never done is the Mount St. Helens ride.
I was about to plug that one.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I messed
No, that's perfect.
Just mix up your pick. And definitely, want to do that. I haven't. There's a large mountain on the Oregon side.
Now we have to reconnect with Mr. Lance here.
Are we're mid reconnecting?
Yeah. Are you there, Lance? People are going to be listening to this going, what in the world are you guys doing to me?
This is the tough part about on location.
On location,
Go
Lance
ahead.
is tough to find. There he is.
Yeah.
Lance is back in action.
The ride I haven't done in a while, it's probably been like 3 years, is Larch Mountain on the Oregon side. Mm-hmm. And it's really beautiful because, you get up to a certain point and it's just, you just get into like just beautiful trees and not a lot else. Yeah. Good climbing. And I just need to go do it because it's been a while.
Yeah, I've only done that one time, and I remember riding with Jordan Rickards, and he's super fast, so it was kind of fun keeping up with him. And I had already had a big week that week, and we got started, and it was about 55 degrees, and I didn't pack anything, not thinking. As you get up there, it gets pretty stinking cold. I think once we got to the top, it was like low 40s, and neither one of us was wearing anything that was going to keep us warm coming down.
The other, coming down is the kicker for that one, because it's, you can go.
How cold does that one get?
Fast.
Or, I mean, how high does that get? Large?
Ooh, I don't know.
I think you get like 4,000 feet of climbing. No, 3,000 feet of climbing out of it. I think that's about what it is.
Right.
I know that one of our teammates, Sean Martin, did 10,000 feet of climbing on it. Did like 3.5 trips up it or something, or 4 trips up it. So
it was amazing.
So it's right around 3,000 feet, I think.
You almost nailed on the head. It's at its peak is 4,000 feet, but I'm sure the road doesn't go all the way up to its peak, does it?
Did you take the little trail at the top where you can kind of see other peaks? There's basically this
kind of.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah,
when you're healthy,
fun.
We'll go up there. But there's a little spot that you can go when we ride. It's worth taking this little trail at the end of it and kind of having a little. There's like a look off spot that's nice. So
very cool.
Yeah. I think for me, aside from just wanting to do any ride at this juncture, I mean, I'll take the most mundane, boring ride that you could throw at me because I just want to get back on a bicycle. And then, not that I'm keeping track, but it's been 140 days since I've ridden a bicycle outside now.
It's marking it on its wall.
God, it sucks. But some of the guys, and it's been a long-standing ride that I've wanted to do with some of the guys on the team, did it this year, was the Death Ride down in Lake Tahoe.
Oh, yeah.
You get to see, 4 different passes and 4 different long climbs, and that's just such beautiful
climbing.
How
many miles?
It's pretty stinking long.
4 passes, you got to probably be 120 miles.
It's like I think it's about 100 miles, and they did like it's like God, what was it like
12
or 18 or 1,500 feet, 1,000 feet of climbing?
Oh my gosh,
pretty nuts. So, yeah. And then how about you, Evan?
Actually, so the one that I was thinking of, Lance, it's interesting that you had mentioned. Wanting to get longer rides in. After we had done that South Rim ride at Mount St. Helens, I have a bit on my plan, of my rides that I want to get done this next spring and summer is doing that same exact ride twice. So going through that, and I think that would put us over like probably 15,000 feet of climbing, 16,000 feet of climbing for that ride.
Lance, you still there? I think
I'll answer for Lance there. Yes, Evan, I'd love to do that ride with you. That would be great.
Reconnecting. Your connection is poor. Oh, Lance is out living the life right now. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get to have Lance for the rest of the show here. We'll try and connect with him one more time. But
he made it through most of it. He hiked through it. He transitioned all the way to his bike. He's on a beautiful bike ride right now. So.
And then I'm gonna throw a local shout just for another ride that's a lot of fun that I really enjoy is the Bridge of the Gods ride.
Yes.
So it's depending upon which bridge, if you use the 205 or the 5 bridge here, and you go all the way out to the Bridge of the Gods, you're looking at anywhere from 85 to 100 miles, and you get to ride through the old historic highway was it 30 or something like that?
Yes.
Anyway, you get to
Yes.
ride by like Multnomah Falls and all the different waterfalls that they have out there. You get to ride over the Bridge of the Gods, and it's just so stinking beautiful. So that's another little like local shout out that
that is a great ride, because that's all along the Columbia. You're getting to do, you're basically just heading east on the Columbia, and it's a great
I haven't done that ride.
That would be another one.
I can't believe I haven't done that.
You've
one.
never done Bridge of the Gods?
There's the other one that we got to put on the list then.
I know.
Yeah.
It's straightforward, right?
Yeah. See if we can
I
grab
love
Lance
this
there.
Skype music. Let's see if we can get on one more time. If not, we're going to let Lance go do a Zen ride. He probably just ditched us to go.
Oh, I guarantee he just ditched us to go.
That's what
on
I
that.
would have done.
Oh yeah, I would have 100% ditched us. Yeah.
Oh,
nah, he's on that ride.
Yeah, I think he's calling it a day. So, all right.
Yeah.
Well, that's Mr. Lance Romance. He'll call us back, I'm sure, if he gets the chance.
So Matt, I was while you were gone, I was saying, along with the Bridge of the Gods ride, Larch Mountain, and then I want to do the South Rim ride that we had done at St. Helens, me and Lance, when we went with that group. I want to do that twice.
Whoa. Be
a good little pre-Ironman Canada, making sure we got the climbing legs all ready to go.
Well, and just like we need lots of rides. So just mileage, general time on the bike.
And the views are
Lance, did you just
There I am.
Hey,
there he is.
I was expecting to hear him like on a bike at this point, like hello.
We thought you ditched us for the Zen ride.
I am trying to gear up to go on the Zen ride, so this probably would be a good spot for me to bow out from here.
All right.
You got any last bit?
Yeah, let's pause real quick. Hey, Lance, any one last things from you?
I got nothing. No.
What? Lance Romance has nothing to say?
I'm just headed out to party.
Lance, what's your Instagram handle if people want to see what you've been up to?
It is at Dr. Hep, at DRHEPP, and you can see some of the stupid pictures I've been taking.
They're so stupid.
So stupid.
Awesome. Hey, Lance, go tear it up on that mountain bike. Ride safe and take some cool pictures for us.
All right, will do. I'm out, boys.
All right, brother. Take care.
See you, Lance.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. See ya. All right. I think did we hit all of your?
Yeah.
All of us? Okay.
Yeah. We got some fun rides on the schedule there.
Matt, did you already do your hot seat yet?
Hot seat question. I have not done a hot seat question
Let's
yet.
do it
Are
now.
you guys ready? Are you nervous?
Yeah,
I'm ready.
I'm shaking in my boots.
Are you? Okay. Well, this is good for. This is a good question for not having Lance here.
Good.
If you were to pick a bike, you could pick. It doesn't have to be a bike. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a TT bike or a road bike. It can be any bike you want. Like, what bike would you buy right now? And money's no object.
Oh,
money is no object. You just pick a bike. You get to pick anything.
I'm going to lean towards one that I don't have in my quiver right now because Lance stole it. He's actually riding it right now, I'm sure.
Actually, he's on it. And this is the point. This is good for Lance because
this is your mountain bike, isn't it, that he does?
Yeah, I miss my mountain bike. I miss riding in the woods and on all the single track trails. I was really digging that bike before I got hurt, and I was really excited about all the fun stuff I was going to do on it, and then it disappeared from my quiver. BMC just announced their new 4-stroke full suspension mountain bike, and I've been riding in hardtail for eons, and I kind of fell back in love with the idea of a full suspension mountain bike.
Mm-hmm.
And now they've got their brand new 4-stroke, completely redesigned full suspension mountain bike, and that's the one that I would want right now. They're not cheap though, so thankfully money's no issue. So.
Component set on that?
It's going to be your SRAM Eagle XX1 one-by drivetrain. So you're looking at a 10 to 50 tooth rear cassette, and you got the 1x 12 drivetrain on that thing.
Yeah.
And I want to say that bike's weighing in at about 19-ish pounds. It's got an integrated dropper post into it now, and the thing is just built to fly. It's great for cross-country racing. You can do a little bit of like downhill adventure stuff on it. It just soaks up everything. It's a lot of fun.
Is 50 tooth pretty typical for that single speed now?
It's that weird. It's that weird big one that they have in the back.
It looks like a pizza pan dish back there.
Is that kind of the direction they're all going with the single gear?
That's all they're. Yeah, just about all of them. I think Shimano goes up to a 45 on their 1x drivetrain, and SRAM's up to the 50. And you look at it and like, I don't need a gear that big. But then I usually run a little bit more of an aggressive front chainring. I'm usually running like a 34 or something like that. A lot of guys be running 32s, and sometimes it's kind of nice to have that when you hit some really steep, pitchy stuff. It's pretty nice to have just to be able to spend. So
nice.
Yeah.
So I would need to ask some advice from you guys because after watching Overland, I just want a gravel grinder now.
Yeah.
That's like all I would want. I don't know anything about the gravel grinding world though. Like what's your like go-to gravel grinding bike out there?
That's tough.
BMC makes one, don't they?
Kind of.
They do.
They have like their little road machine, which is kind of like their little Swiss Army knife bike. You know, can do everything, but it's not a traditional gravel.
And you
grinder.
could, I mean, I think in all of those cyclocross bikes would work.
Yeah.
Fine. There's no problem with.
I know Cannondale's got a really cool one.
Yeah. The cyclocross bikes definitely, like Matt said, but the cockpit on those are a little bit more short, so you're a little bit more compact, which is nice if you get into some more tactical stuff and you want to throw the bike around.
Highway,
But if you're hitting some longer rides, you might start to feel that a little bit if you're wanting to kind of stretch things out just a touch. But it's still perfectly feasible. As a matter of fact, I rode a cyclocross bike when I did the gravel grinder, the Oregon gravel grinder earlier this year in April. I think I was 75 miles on the particular ride, and I was riding the KTM Canic cyclocross bike, and it was just fine. So
perfect.
Yeah. So something cyclocrossy or gravelly for you.
Yeah.
Just got to figure out what you need.
Yeah, because TT bike wise, I'm kind of off the train of like obsessing over that.
It's easy to obsess about, like
I know,
Kona.
like,
we had Kona 2 weeks ago or a week ago, whatever it was, and it's like all the new bike releases.
I love. I saw an interview with Cam Worf where he was talking about that. He focused it like he said if he had $1,000, he would spend 900. I think he said 900 of that on his helmet and his skin suit.
Yeah.
Said aerodynamics is like 70 to 75% you.
Yeah.
Actually, I've heard numbers higher, but that's, I mean.
Yeah, that's the number I've heard too. It's about 75%.
Yeah. I mean, when we're talking small percentages, when you're trying to hang on to groups, that's, the front brake being aero is important. But like, if you're going to spend, not everybody has endless sponsors and funds here. If you're going to spend money, it's just getting your position right. And then the bike, you don't need to go out and spend that extra $2,000-$3,000.
More to your point right there too, with the skin suit. You heard that UCI just outlawed the skin suit that this guy was wearing from Castelli. What did they call that skin suit? There was a name for it.
It literally looked like a golf ball.
It had little dimples and bumps and stuff on it, and they just
was ingenious because that's why golf balls travel so far.
Yeah, and they just outlawed it over the weekend. So
good job, UCI.
Supposedly, though, Castelli's already come up with a new skin suit that falls within the criteria of being legal, and it's supposed to be faster. So I think it was their body paint 4 speed suit that had a specific name to it. I'd have to go back and remember.
Pretty soon they're just going to start like body painting people into golf balls. It'll just be like wearing a Speedo with golf paint on you.
How about you, Matt? What would your bike be?
Oh, I don't know. I would mix it up and probably snag a road bike, I think. Yeah, I like I have a Specialized Venge road bike, but it's not my favorite. It's a little touch small. So
is that a 54?
Yeah, it's 54. I think I should go with 56.
Would you ride a fit? Because I ride a 56. Would you?
Yeah, I like a 56. I've had a 56 in the past, and I like. Well, if you think about it, we're used to stretching out on the bike because the TT position is stretched out. So, I don't know. I mean, I would go for something maybe like a Trek Madone or something like that. Like I think they're beautiful. Gotcha. I love the fully integrated. Actually, BMC does the same thing. It's like the fully integrated cockpit area. Like I just think that's a beautiful look. Anything where you don't have like wires popping up and stuff like that, I'm just looking at those things and kind of drooling a little bit. Those are nice, but for the most part, I mean, I'm like you. Like it's easy to. Oogly eyes at all the new bikes announcements and stuff like that, but I'm pretty good. Yeah.
Good form and function with those bikes with all the integrated stuff in it. They're definitely fun to come and look at.
Yep,
they are.
Yeah. All right.
Hot seat question.
Hi, Jake.
I was going to ask you guys a question about Zwift, but then I got to thinking, I'm like,
well, I thought about that too. Yeah.
Lance doesn't ride on it. I'm sure Evan hasn't been on it. Matt's been busy and riding outside. Yeah. So I'll just ask this, if you haven't ridden on it yet, we'll just punch on to the next one. Have you guys tried out the new New York?
Ooh, I want to check that out. I
just saw a video that was on YouTube about it.
Yeah.
So it looks kind of cool. I think it's.
So usually on Zwift they'll set up a specific day for different routes, and if you can go in and edit that, like within the code, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
And I do want to play with that at some point, because there's a lot of routes that I don't like
Richmond.
I don't like Richmond very much, and I don't like London that much. I like Watopia, and I'm super excited to try New York. So
the world championship course was kind of cool. Those climbs were tough.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Watopia is hands down my favorite. I mean, there's so
yeah.
much variety there, and they did a freaking awesome job. And they keep adding little bits and pieces to it. And I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You want my hot take on New York?
Yeah,
New York?
I definitely do.
I don't like it. I think it
You
sucks.
don't?
Yep.
Yeah, you know.
So where do they take you through that?
I'm gonna.
Same old.
So okay, it's supposedly 100 years in the future when they design this. So it's kind of got New York in it, and they've got some stuff with the Central Park down there, but it's just kind of cheesy, I thought. But that's neither here nor there. But it just felt like the climbs, when you're doing a climb, like all of a sudden you'll look over and the gradient, you can feel it when you're riding on a smart trainer, the gradient will kick up to like 10, 15%, and you feel it, and you're looking at it on the Zwift app, and it doesn't visually look like you're hitting a grade. So I'm like, that's kind of off. And I feel like they tried a little too hard. I mean, kudos to them for adding a new land and creating more interest, but I don't know. I've done it for the last 3 days.
New York City doesn't exactly have too many hills in it, correct?
No, that's the thing. Is they built
city.
like this kind of like this little sky bridge area that you ride on.
It's 100 years
and that's
in the future.
where exactly, and that's how they give you your elevation gain. So you're riding on this translucent like skyway, and like you're kind of looking down. But when you're hitting these pitches, it doesn't look like it. And like when you're in a lot of the other lands, it visually looks like you're on a climb, and it feels like a climb, and it's just not the same there. So
do you like London?
Yeah.
You know what? It's okay. It's
there's little things where it's like there's these little like kickers that I kind of like where you like get on and off the, you know how you cut through the tube, their subway system or whatever.
Yeah, and you have the plywood
stairs,
down. Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, I like this because you have this little like kicker and you dig in and it's I don't know. I just like so little things like that I like. But mostly I don't love London. My favorite is definitely Watopia. And maybe it's because I'm familiar with it. I'm like, oh, I know if I go. You know, if I want a flat route, I do this. If I want to go climb, I do that. I don't know.
Yeah, if you want a flat route in some of the other lands, it's just this boring little like short circuit. And like, man, I don't want to do this 100 times. But
yeah, like London, I'm always like, I don't know. I'm in Richmond. Yeah, no. So I'm actually sad to hear that you're not excited about New York because I'm guessing that we'll all feel similar.
I think that they did an okay job with it. I just don't like it. And I think when I think of cycling, I don't think of New York. Do you think of cycling in New York? And like, what's the draw of that? Why don't you come up with another classic place?
Yeah.
Like go back over to Europe and find some of the stuff from one of the big races and start to build around that.
Like a cycling centric city in Europe would be like Girona or something like that in Italy. Do like a city that's known for its the only thing New York is known for is the cycling delivery guys who are literally almost killing people out there. So
I just had that movie from back in the day. Remember Quicksilver? Did you guys ever see Quicksilver?
Yes.
Kevin
that's
Bacon
exactly
in that?
what I'm referencing. Yeah.
What about some sort of like, I don't know, Hell of the North ride or something interesting like that?
They could do a cobbled course. Why wouldn't they do something like that?
But, so if you start there and you build a cobble course, people are going to eat that up. And then you can do a lot of stuff that spins off of that. Just think about Watopia. Watopia used to be very basic and simple, and they keep adding all of the stuff to that. And so now you've got volcano climbs and mountain climbs and all these other kind of little circuits and whatnot that are built into it. And like, this is cool. There's a lot of variety there.
Yeah.
I just don't see where they're going to take New York from here. I mean, you can add more sky bridges, or you can go ride in the subway tunnel or something like that. But, I don't know. It is what it is, but my hot take was I just wasn't overly impressed with it. So I've had a few people ask me that too, and I just wanted to lament one more time.
I need to jump on there. Maybe I'll jump on today for like an easy hour or something like that, just to check it out.
Yeah, they have.
Is it going to be every day for a little while?
Yeah, I think they started like last Thursday or Friday, and it's going to go for this whole week, and then like the first part of next week. So that'll be on the agenda, and I have to put out the invite for our dialed team ride tomorrow, and I'm trying to figure out which course to do, and I'm like, these just aren't inspiring me to want to do this. But yeah, well, you can do that. There's a hack, and one of our teammates, Ian Gibson, was making mention of that to me, that we actually have the option to go in there and do that, but it might be too much of an ask to have all these other people do the same thing in their system and have us go meet for a ride in a place that's just
right. You basically have to edit one file on your system, which you're not a tech guy.
No.
You're not a tech guy.
This is all.
You were born in 1948.
Right over my head right now. I know. That was the post-World War II world.
Yep. All right. So my real hot seat question. Is something that's going to be dialed centric. What would you guys like to see from the dialed cycling team in 2019 to best serve you? Big question.
That's a tough question. I feel pretty supported from a team perspective.
Right.
So,
and I'll give you guys a second to kind of stew on that. And it's just kind of going back to, We talked with Chuck Keelan last week about, just the things that cycling is faced. And I think we've all kind of come to agree that teams are going to be the catalyst to us pushing forward and pushing the cycling agenda and getting more people out riding. And I want to try and stay ahead of the curve. And I want to experiment with stuff because we've got such a great base of people. I want to go out and try different things to see if it's going to attract more people so that we can say, hey, other teams and other people who are looking to start teams,
right?
We tried this and it failed miserably, or we tried this and it worked fantastically. Give this a shot. And so the best way to ask is to ask people what it is that they would want to keep you around, and to get more people out riding and racing.
Well, so Jake, this is for me and you. What if what opportunities are we providing for Barrett, who is how old is he? 9?
9, yeah.
Okay, and Ethan, which is my 8-year-old.
Yep.
So both good cyclists.
Yep.
Both can handle the bike.
Yep.
I biked, 3 or 4 miles with Ethan on. Oh wait, no, we did 6.5. I don't know. So we did a nice little six miler.
Yeah.
On our trip. But when he's home, he doesn't have any interest in going out for a bike ride or anything like that. But if there was a team or a practice or whatever it is, or a safe place for him to ride, even if it was a bit of a drive, might be an opportunity. Like, I know we've talked about youth cycling in the past, but this is youth, like pretty young.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about it is a lot of the promoters and a lot of the races that you see out there now will have races specifically tailored to those kids.
Right.
So it's
Kitty Cross. There's Kitty Cross for sure. Yep.
It's on us to create that conduit to get them there. So, A, you've got to get them out there, you got to get them training, get their fitness up. And B, you got to, teach them all of the practical skills that they're going to need. And C, then you got to get them out to the races. And I think that's what we're going to do. So, right now I'm specifically writing our 2019 sponsorship packet that we're going to go out and we're going to try and raise funds. And some of these funds are going to be allocated towards our juniors program so that we can get these kids set up with the things that they need, some coaching, set them up with some practices that they can get to, make sure that the kids that might need some help with a bike or a kit and things of that nature, we can help pay for those things so we can give these kids every chance possible to get out there and ride and race bikes. So that's kind of one of the things that we're working on.
Nice.
I like it. For me, it would be coming up with, going into this next road season, kind of groups. We come up with kind of a race calendar roughly and say, what group do you see yourself falling into during the race schedule?
Yep.
As in, like, are you seeing yourself as wanting to just race that 4-5 group for a while?
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing masters, or are you going to do open too? Because that's, I think, for me, coming back into a couple bits of road cycling, I'd love to say that I know exactly what my schedule will produce, but it'll depend on how the beginning of my season looks. But knowing who in the 2-3s group is going to be racing masters and who wants to race the open.
Yeah.
So that going into these races, a lot like last season when you had that great masters team together.
Yeah. Right.
At each race, we would know who's going to be there, know who's going to be, supporting each other.
Yeah. We kind of had a little bit of that, and I think that we can always do a better job with everything that we do. We can do a better job, but with the masters group, I mean, you'd have all of the guys getting together for a meeting on Zoom, which for some of you don't know what Zoom is. It's video conference calling. So you kind of pop into this meeting, and all of a sudden your video camera produces an image of you, and then you pull up your computer, and you're kind of like, it's like looking at the Brady Bunch. You've got everybody in their own little square.
The Brady Bunch, yeah.
And a lot of the guys would have meetings, and they would talk about what tactics they wanted to employ, who's going to be at the race, and what kind of supplies do we need, how are we going to support each other. So I think that what we could do is a better job of doing that across the entire team as opposed to just segments within the team, and that definitely is a good suggestion from you.
Yeah, because I know that this year we have a lot of guys bump up to that 3 range, so I think we have a pretty big 3 group
it's
right now.
It's going to be growing, yeah. Another thing that a lot of guys would do is get on Zwift, and our team uses Discord, so they would actually get on and they would do like the night before their little leg openers and whatnot. They would do a ride on there, and then they would be on Discord and they'd be talking about race tactics and strategy. So that was kind of fun too. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah. So
Matt, would you jump into some road races this spring?
Yep, I think so. I mean,
cool.
So I obviously set triathlon as a priority for the for the season, and so I know we'll probably potentially race in April. And that's kind of when I think most of the road stuff is going to start. Jack Frost is high up on my hit list.
March has some road races, correct?
Oh yeah.
March,
I mean, basically,
absolutely.
the beginning of March is going to be your Jack Frost, and then right after that, we'll jump into Dirty Circles, and then it'll just like be piece of cake, and then they'll just be basically every single weekend until like the end of May. So
perfect. I think the only slot I would have to miss is potentially 2 or 3 weeks in April.
Yeah,
I'm excited because I'll be in the 40 plus. So it's, makes me so happy. And in our group, I think there'll be more people to work with, and it'll be a lot nicer for me for sure. Yep.
Well, I appreciate that feedback, boys. Really hoping to take the team to an even greater height and help out some other teams and just continue to bring more people to cycling. Very cool. If Lance were here, he would be asking us a hot seat question right now. Do you guys have any kind of an idea what kind of hot seat question he would ask?
What would Lance ask right now?
I don't know. It would probably be something sort of, he'd be, golden boyish, charming question for sure, no doubt.
Be something like what hair product do you prefer on like a long ride? Like what makes your hair look best for like the length of ride if you're going on a century?
That's definitely what he would do. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me see. I can pretend like my other one. What is on all the rides you've done in your life, what is the biggest amount of feet elevation gain you've had in a ride?
Ooh, I have no idea.
12,500 feet.
12,500 on the dot.
Correct.
Yep.
I know I've broken 10 because we did the
you did the 10K.
Mine was kind of funny. I was training for a race, a mountain bike race. It was called we've talked about this before, but it was the Warrior Society down in Southern California put on this mountain bike race, and the race is like 11,500 feet of climbing, right? And so basically I was going out on a training ride and I made a wrong turn.
There you go.
My training ride was supposed to be about 8,000 feet of climbing.
Those are the best ones.
I had food, nutrition, and fluids for an 8,000 mile. 8,000 foot of climbing, and probably about
8,000 miles,
about 40 miles of riding. And so I got to the top, and I wanted to take a different way down. So I asked a hiker when I got up to the top, and it was one of those things like, oh yeah, take this trail down. So I was over in the Orange County side of things, and there's a mountain range called the Santa Ana Mountains, and then he told me to take this particular road down. Well, it took me down into the Corona Valley, which is the other side of the mountain, and I got to the bottom.
I'm like, back over the
son of a biscuit eater. This is the wrong side. I should not have listened to this guy, and so I had to turn around and not hike, but ride my bike all the way back to the top. Cell phone battery died. I was completely out of food. I was completely out of hydration, everything. So I'm riding up, and I was like trying to hitchhike almost because like people were driving their cars up on these dirt roads, like kids, like, hey, can you guys stop? And they just go blowing by. I'm like, thanks, guy, And I can remember there was one husband and wife that saw me up there, and they stopped and they're like, you okay? And I'm like, yeah. And I told them the story, and they're like, oh, here's some water. And when the guy's like, I got some beer. You want to take that too? They had one thing of water, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to take your beer, but thank you. And another guy further down the way, he's like, man, I'm fresh out of everything, but I've got some ice in the bottom of my my cooler here. You want that? I'm like, sure, it'll eventually melt, right?
Yeah.
Come limping in, and
I would have definitely taken that beer for the record. I would have been like easy carbs there.
I come limping up my street, and like everybody's kind of standing in the cul-de-sac, like my neighbors and my wife, and they were all like worried, like, where is he? It's starting to get kind of late in the day, and they'd called the park services and whatnot, like, where is he at? And they see me, and they're like, my wife, I could just like this look of like anger yet like satisfaction, like he's alive still. And I'm like, oh God, I'm going to get the riot act right now. Cause I was like 3 or 4 hours late getting home.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, went back and looked in the Garmin, said 12,500 feet of climbing. And I was like, that was a day.
So secretly like, oh, score. Good.
Yeah.
Toughest elevation ride so far.
Yeah. So that was fun. How about you, Matt?
As far as elevation, the only thing that I can specifically remember would be Prune Hill 10K, where we got a little over 10. So yeah, that's a fun day for sure. And I don't remember it being. I only did it once. I didn't do it last year. Yeah. So just. So if you guys aren't familiar, Prune Hill 10K. Prune Hill is just like this little area where Jake and I live in Southern Washington, and it's basically 500 feet of climbing any which way you take it. Yep. And we just take it a lot. Yep. So we just keep climbing until we hit our 10K mark.
Yeah.
And then we go home.
About that time of year to do that again. And I usually organize that. This would be the third or fourth year of doing it, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I've just been on the disabled list. And Evan, before the podcast, was asking me about that.
We were just about to talk about it.
What's up with the Prune Hill 10K? I'm like, you know what? That's a very valid question. So,
it was mentioned on our ride, so I think people are still definitely interested. So
I think hypothetically, Matt will be in town that week. Lance will be in town that week. Would be the second weekend in November. I will not be able to do the ride, but I can run SAG support, and we will do our normal meetup spot. And last year we did a halfway point stop at our house, my house here.
Yep.
And did donuts and coffee and all that other stuff. So I'll maybe provide that little support for everybody as well, and then let you guys do it. So we get the whole rides all up on Strava and all that fun stuff. So
be fun.
Yeah. All right. How about you, Evan? What was your biggest?
My biggest was actually just a little under yours. It was 12K. I'm going to forget the exact amount, but
12K or 12,000 feet.
12,000 feet. Yeah. So it was another wrong turn. I think I think I've told the story where we got chased down by a hailstorm off Mount Evans.
Man.
Well, the other part of that story is I had busted away from my two friends because I wanted to be that guy. Missed the turn up the Mount Evans climb.
That's right.
Just not even thinking. Descended down a good 3,000 feet. I had to turn around and sprint back up. So I think the ride originally was going to be 9,000 or 10,000, and I added a nice 3,000 with a wrong turn. But yeah, headed to Colorado next weekend, like I had mentioned earlier. So actually, we'll see if we do that ride again. I'm not sure if this time of year that's a safe ride to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're definitely going to get some climbing in. So
I was having a brain fart back there in a minute when I was telling my story. The name of the race that I was doing was called Vision Quest. So sorry,
Vision Quest.
Not that anybody.
I do remember you telling the story now. Okay, yeah. That's such a California name for a race right there.
Yeah, it's part of the Warrior Society, and they basically are a tribal community that actually looks after the mountain biking trails in the Santa Ana Mountains, and they raise a bunch of money, and it all goes back into park services.
Native American group?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
So yeah, it's very cool. I think that's it for the hot seat, boys.
Oh yeah.
I think so. That was a warm seat for a long time.
How about one last thing, Evan? You want to start us off?
My one last thing just got taken, but I was gonna plug the Prune Hill 10K, which I'm kind of excited for now. You know, I'm enjoying climbing right now.
I'm nervous for it because I'm not in the fitness that I was 2 years ago when Jake and I were just climbing every day.
Yeah,
but
that's okay. I mean,
it's a grinder, man. We just
it is. Yeah,
there's so many different approaches to this thing, and we came last year I kind of like figured it out that if we do it this way, the way that I set it up last year, it's a lot quicker. I mean, we can cut out almost 10 miles of ride time. So there's basically, God, what would you say, about 8 or 10 different climbs somewhere in there, and we would do each one of them twice, and that was turned out to be the most efficient way to get it done. And we were finishing it at about 56 miles, and it was just over 10,000 feet of climbing. Some guys did a little extra.
You'll do extra because you'll double back for me, right, Evan?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we'll be doing hill repeats.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We're here in Prune Hill, Camas, Washington, and I think we're going to get a bunch of folks from the Portland area that want to come over and do it because they're like, there's no way we thought you guys could do that over there. We're totally in because there's a couple other big rides that they do over in the Portland area.
Yeah.
And honestly, if we did it somewhere else, it would be easier to get 10K in. It's just fun because this is our little backyard.
Yeah. And it's fun too watching all the people driving around going, because we had 25 people out there doing it last year, and they're like, what the heck are all these people doing out in the middle of November doing all of these climbs, and the weather's kind of crappy. So yeah, it was kind of fun. So.
But yeah, I mean, like this neighborhood has some steep pitches, some good, surprisingly long climbs at times. And I mean, what is there a 20% pitch in a couple of climbs around here? There's got to be 20 plus in a couple areas.
Right down the hill.
Yeah, Lacamas Lane is pretty stinking steep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh God, yeah, Lacamas up in Matt's houses. That thing's got to hit what? 24%.
It says it hits 23, but I don't know if I believe it. But anyway, there's definitely 18 and stuff in the mix. But it's good climbing. It's good, clean fun.
It is.
Yeah. Matt, one last thing.
So I mentioned checking out the video, and that's something for you guys to consider. Other thing would be we are wrapping up the cross country season, and Camas cross country is doing pretty well. We won districts. Our top 5 guys went 1 through 5 at districts. Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
My gosh.
Yep. So we perfect scored at districts, and our girls won as well. So the teams are doing well, but now we have we call it by districts, but it's like regionals and state. We have 2 races left. So I'll be out of town the next 2 weekends, and it should be some good racing. So
you guys gonna win state?
It's that would be. I think we're a long shot on the guy side, and I don't think we'll win it on the girl side. But you never know. Like that's why we run the race. You know, so we're just gonna get in there and do the best we can and hope for the best.
You had to put some odds on it. What would it be?
Yeah. Are you guys a top 5 favorite? Would you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So on the guys side, which this is the best guys team we've ever had by far, and. On any other year, they'd win state. But this year, there's like 5 teams that are really good. The team that won state didn't have any seniors. They brought everyone back. Oh, God. So it's just like one of those years where it's like, oh, my gosh, this is going to be this will be tough. But,
there are going to be some fast times thrown down at state, aren't there?
Yeah, I think so. It's just going to be interesting because there'll be, our pack is really tight and fast, and it'll just be interesting to see the other teams and how they do. So
I don't know how closely you monitor what's going on like nationwide, but how does it sounds like here in the Pacific Northwest, there's some stinking good talent here, right?
Our team was ranked 8th or something crazy like that in the nation, which is just insane. Which, I mean, like, that team should win state, right? Like, but here I am saying, like, we could be 5th at state. Like, the Pacific Northwest is, and this might just be like a fluke year where Washington is just really, really strong. I think it is a bit of a fluke year. But again, like, each race, every day is different. Like, we may go there and just have a bad day, you know? And it's hard to get 5 or 7 guys to show up on the same day and all have a good day. That's very difficult to do. So.
How does this area, though, stack up against other hotbeds across the country?
Oh, I think we're very good.
It's funny that Lance had mentioned American Fork over in Utah when he was talking earlier. There would be another hotbed, Jay, is that area right there.
You have spots that are at altitude that do have, a good bit of decent running for sure. And then highly populated areas are always going to do well. Like New York always has some good options as well. And California has some great teams. But I'd say the places where I grew up in Alabama is where you see like less competitive running. And no offense to any of our Alabama listeners, it's just the truth. And it's good to be here and just see like how hard these kids work. They work really hard.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How can we get them to work hard on a bicycle?
Yeah. No, you can't steal my runners. You're not allowed to steal my runners.
This is where we secretly develop the greatest ITU triathlon squad juniors have ever seen.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
That's actually where ITU's going now. They just grab these kids from high school cross country and they're like, here's a bicycle.
Ready,
and I hope
set,
you swim a
go.
little bit. Yep. And if they swim, that's game, set, match.
I know. Well, I had one runner a year or 2 ago that was like, came over from swimming and I'm like, oh, you'd be a good triathlete.
Like, here's a bicycle.
Yeah,
you need to learn how to ride this.
Yeah, you could crush for sure.
Awesome. All right, my one last thing is we already talked about the Prune Hill 10K. Mm-hmm. There's another ride that we do every single year, and this will be our 4th year doing it.
Yeah,
I make it sound like it's been something going on for decades, but no.
No, it predates the Prune Hill 10K.
It does, and it's the Ugly Sweater Christmas Ride, and we basically do this little charity fundraiser thing. The first year we did it, we had everybody bring an unwrapped Christmas toy, and we donated those to the who was it? Oh, the Salvation Army. That's who it was, and they helped us put it into kids that weren't going to have a Christmas. Last year, we raised a boatload of cash to buy a bunch of bikes for kids. And you know what? That cash is still sitting on hand. It never got spent because the bike manufacturer fell through, and the shop that was going to help us out fell through. And so basically, I just parlayed that over into this year. So we've got a working budget already of $3,000 to go towards bikes for kids this year. And the whole thing basically just got pushed back a whole year. So my goal is if we can more than double that money, if not triple it, that will buy a lot of stinking bikes for kids. So I've got a few things up my sleeve, and hopefully we'll be able to make that work out. But we are going to do our Ugly Sweater Christmas Ride, and that will be the Saturday after Thanksgiving. I believe that will be the 24th, if my memory serves me correct. And we will do a ride based out of here in Camas, and we'll head on out to Frenchman's Bar. We'll do a pretty cool little photo op, and then we'll ride back into downtown Vancouver to do a little coffee break. We've done it at Compass Coffee the past couple of years, and that's worked out pretty slick. And then ride back into Camas Christmas and call it a day. And
And
that whole process, we raise a ton of money. So
that ride is pretty mellow. So if you're worried about, competitive biking and blah, 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 no, just come out, dress goofy, and we'll have fun, and we're going to raise money for a good cause.
There's competition, though. It's just whoever's got the best Christmas sweater.
Christmas sweater / Christmas bike.
Yeah,
people go all in.
And Compass coffee is really good coffee too, by the way. That's a side point, but that'd be what I would be looking forward to. Or hot chocolate or Compass coffee.
It just feels weird to be talking about Christmas stuff.
It does.
It's just kind of nuts. So, but I mean, gosh, we're getting pretty stinking close.
Thanksgiving's right around the corner.
Just 2 months away. Yeah. Anything else, guys?
I think I'm good over here.
Yeah. Thanks for having us on the podcast.
Always. Yeah. Go check us out on Facebook at Dial Podcast and check us out on Instagram at Dial Podcast. And we'll try and post up some pictures. I've got some pictures from Lance, and I promise we'll get those posted up for you. And always, if you guys have any questions, shoot us an email. Any of our first names at Dial Podcast, and we'll be happy to hit you up. There is one last little note here. I've got a little bit of a survey that we wanted to put out there for everybody that we've put together. We just wanted to get some feedback from you. I'm really hoping that you guys will stop and take this little survey. It'll take you all of about 2 minutes at most, maybe a minute. That's a little Survey Monkey thing that we're going to post up on the Dial Podcast Facebook page. Just when you get a chance, go just punch in some information. Let us know what you think, and we'll take all that stuff to heart. So yeah, good. All right, you guys. Thank you for coming back. As always, it's a highlight of my week. I don't know about you.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
All right, and all you listeners, thank you for listening again. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.